I wish I could say it in a more cheerful way, but here we are. A turning point to Charlie Kirk. I didn't want to be that guy. I mean, I know you're probably inundated with videos about the news of Charlie Kirk, but I wanted to approach this live stream from another perspective, okay? I wanted to approach this, of course, with respect to him and his family and everybody involved on that side, but I want to look at it from a perspective like a 30-foot view, a bird's eye view. Like let's actually zoom the lens way out and really talk about this. So I'm going to wait until we get some people on the live stream, and then we're going to get rolling on this. Like I said, we're going to try to keep this very respectful. If this isn't your thing, then by all means, don't watch it. This may get really deep. This may get very emotional. This just may not be your cup of tea. What can I say? But again, this may be something that you need, okay? This may be something that we all need. I think in a world of chaos, I think we really need to open up to one another and really talk about how we feel, right? I mean, I'm trying to get my chat set up. We always talk about the subject at hand, but we never talk about how us as Americans feel about the situation as a whole. How is it affecting you personally in your life? That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Wanderlust Renee, hello. I'm actually the first one here. You are. You are. So you haven't missed much, girlfriend. In fact, I'm trying to get my chat connected on my computer, so bear with me. I see it on here on my cell phone, but I'm not catching it here. What the fuck is going on? Pardon my French. Let's go back to the studio and reboot it again. But now I want to keep it upbeat, but I do want to discuss, I want to discuss what has happened over the last 48 hours. I mean, I'm not immune to it. I'm American. I'm an American living in Cambodia. In case you guys are watching this afterwards and don't know who I am, my name is Tammy. I'm an American expat. I'm originally from Orlando, Florida, and I live in Phnom Penh, Cambodia right now, and I've been here for about 9 months. I still keep tabs on the American news, okay, because, you know, I got some skin in the game. I have 2 grown children that are living in the States, and I want to know what is actually going on in their world, right? Because, I mean, living out here is a whole different world compared to living over there. So that's my background, okay? So if you're new to the live stream, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you're new. Tell me where you're from. And then, of course, we're going to have a lot of OGs come in, and I appreciate all you guys that tune in, especially, you know, Wanderlust Renee. I know you, girl. I know you, girl. So, yeah. Okay, I'm finally starting to see the chats. All right, this is cool. Finally starting to see some chats. Okay, let me get into live chat. T. Patrick, hey, there's one of my OGs. Hey, T, what's happening? Lot going on, man. Lot going on there, looks like, in the States. I ain't gonna lie, like, woo, all I gotta do is say, woo. I've watched a lot of different news clips of what's happening with Charlie Kirk's passing, and not that I have respect for the man, but I didn't really, like, follow him. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't a diehard fan. but I knew of him, okay? And like I said, I want this discussion to be respectful. I want it to be a bird's eye view of not only him, but also how it's affecting us as a whole. How is it affecting you in your life? What do you think about what's happening in America because of this? I want to know, because I'm halfway across the world, okay? So I want to know how it is affecting you, your life personally. How's it affecting people around you, if anything? What do you think about the situation? You know, there's a lot of different things we can talk about. So, and then does that affect you as far as wanting to leave the United States even more, you know, than you do right now? Because I know you guys that are already in the stream already know that you want to bolt. You want to get the hell out of there. I already know this. But like, this is just another layer of icing on the cake, I think. I mean, but then again, is it making you feel numb? Right? Like, has this happened so much in the United States that it's making you feel numb? Oh, T, you don't know the situation. Well, we're talking about what happened to Charlie Kirk, okay? The shooting, I don't know, maybe you haven't heard about it, I don't know, but Charlie Kirk was unalived about 48 hours ago. You think it's a tipping point for the U.S.? Yeah, so that's the situation we're talking about, T. And it's not just about the shooting in general. It's really about how is it affecting you as an American, okay? I mean, like I said, I'm halfway across the world. I send my condolences to Charlie Kirk's family. I can personally relate to his wife, okay? I have total empathy for her, because think of the ripple effects from this shooting, okay? It's not just him and his fans, it's his family, but it's also the shooter's family, okay? Let's not forget about this. I mean, I can't say I have sympathy for the shooter, because who knows why the guy did what he did. But what really kills me on this is the kid. I call him a kid. He was 22 years old. He's literally 1 year older than my own son. Okay, my son's 21, all right? I could not imagine in a million years if that was my boy that went out there and shot somebody like that, whether it's a famous person or anybody. If me as a mother found out that my son went out there and killed somebody or unalived him, okay, unalived him, I'd be beside myself. I mean, I would be devastated, because his life is ruined, because he's going to jail, you know? From what I read in the news, something about like his dad talked him into turning himself in. He recognized his son from the video pictures on the news, and him and this pastor evidently talked his son into turning himself in. And from what I read, his son said he'd rather kill him. He'd rather unalive himself than go to jail. But they got him and they took him in, and so now he's sitting, you know, under special watch so he doesn't harm himself. I cannot imagine if that was my own son. I think I would turn him in too, you know? I'm sorry, but what you did was wrong. It's wrong. So let's get to your comments. Yeah, Charlie Kirk was 31. Yep. You're talking about the Unilever, my bad. Yeah, the unaliver. Yeah, I'm talking about the unaliver. Yeah. Hey, 007, honest and truth. Hey. Let's see. Okay, what are we going on this rant for? The economy is Canada is a deep water controlled by the... Okay, well, let's not really go there, okay? We're not going to go deep into politics there, 007. So I'm sort of going to give you a little warning. Let's not go there, okay? I don't want to go there. So we're not going to, we want to keep this live stream upbeat, all right? We're going to keep it upbeat. We don't want any problems. Hey, Jose. Where have you been lately? I have some good news. I mean, we're going to get, like I said, we're going to get into this conversation, but I have some good news, Jose. I will tell you in a moment. Hold on just a second. I think I just have to clean a little house here right now. I don't want to get into any kind of weird shit on my channel, you know? Country's freaking bananas. Can I say that these days? Yeah, you can say bananas. We'll go with bananas. That sounds good. Yeah, Jose? Okay, I'll tell you guys where I've been lately. Besides this crazy event that's just happened, I have some good news, okay? I got some good news. No, I didn't win the lotto. If I won the lotto, I wouldn't be on the live stream. Hi, Lily T. I'm just saying, no, I love you guys. I love you guys. No, Friday, I normally do live streams, right? Get me out of here. Morphous, get me out of here. But I got my third victim. What do I mean by that? There's another interview lined up, guys. Yay! That's right. I shot an interview with this guy who's passing through Phnom Penh just for 2 days. I had to catch him fast. He messaged me on my email 3 days ago and said, I'm in town, you know, I've seen your channel. He's one of my subscribers. And he goes, before I head to Siem Reap, I'd like to meet you. And I would love to do an interview with you. And I was like, well, let's go, right? I'm doing my Matthew McConaughey, like, okay, all right. So we met for the first time and we shot the interview right on the spot, man. Like, I didn't know anything about him. So that interview is coming out next Friday, just to let you guys know, because I have to tweak it a bit, put on little extra touches. So I'll set it as a premiere. And yeah, so that's what I've been doing lately. And I might even have another one lined up. I don't know. It seems like you guys are starting to come through, which is really cool, really cool. So that's the good news, and that's where I've been doing lately. But then, you know, going back to the Charlie Kirk situation, I'm just like, I at first thought it was a joke. I ain't gonna lie. Thanks, thank you. When this news first broke out, and I saw somebody else was doing a YouTube video about it, when it first broke, it said Charlie Kirk passed or whatever, age 31, RIP. And I thought, that's got to be some kind of a joke, right? So that's somebody's pulling some fast one, like it might be just someone making a joke video, you know what I mean? Then I saw some more videos starting to say the same thing. I thought, this got to be real. So I started checking the news, and I was like, holy shit. Are you shitting me? So then I'm getting on X, right? And I'm like, this shit's real. Then I actually saw the video footage of what happened to the guy. And I don't want to go into detail, but that shocked the hell out of me. I was like, I'm just shaking my head. I mean, I literally in that moment felt so sad for the United States. I mean, I felt sad for him because the dude's 31. Come on. And what did he do to deserve that? Nobody deserves that. The guy fought with his words, okay? Like I said, I didn't really follow him that much, but I watched a few things with him. I don't know if you've ever seen this thing. There's a show on YouTube where like he was like the one conservative that was surrounded by 20 liberals. He says Charlie Kirk faces off against 20 liberals, and they do like a fire chat kind of like show, you know what I mean? Like they pose these different questions, and then the liberal gives their point of view, and then he gave his argument against it. So I've seen him do a couple shows like that, and I thought the guy was, you know, he was cool. I was like, he's got a very good mind, you know what I mean? Like he knows how to use his words eloquently, is what I'm saying. And he can get his point across, right? And I admired that. I thought that was really cool. And then, of course, you know, during the Trump election, I saw him doing some speeches on stage and what have you. And I thought, you know, for 31, the guy's mature beyond his years, is what was in my mind. But that's as much as I knew of him, okay? So then I hear this, and I'm like, you know, and I knew he went from like university to university to talk to I say children. I mean, come on, I'm 55, you know, there are kids out there, 18, 19 years old. And I'm like, okay, well, that's sort of cool. You know, he's giving his perspective. He's trying to get their perspective, and then they're trying to reach some sort of consensus, right? They're using their words instead of using their fists, okay? Or whatever you want to call, bang, bang. So for a person to be taken out because of their words, that's what's scary to me. Like, isn't that our First Amendment? We have freedom of speech, but yet only if certain people like what you have to say, you're safe. So maybe we should rewrite the First Amendment. You have freedom of speech if I like what you say. I'll leave it at that. If I don't like what you say, that ain't cool. That ain't cool. Lily says, happy Saturday here, happy Sunday there. Thank you. Happy, happy, happy days. That's right. Yeah, that was crazy. It was. La 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 land. I like that. Yeah, and at the same time as CK, there was another school shooting. Go figure. Oh, no. Okay. Maven, hey, I didn't know about a school shooting. I mean, here we go. That's what I'm saying. Are we so numb to this that it doesn't even faze us as Americans anymore? Like this is just an everyday event? It's becoming normal. I knew you would. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But like I said, I want to hear how you guys feel. I'm going to be your therapist today, okay? Because this brings me back. I hate to bring this analogy up, but okay. And I'm scattered. My brain is everywhere because I want to say so much, but I'm trying to narrow it down. That's the problem. So you're going to have to bear with me because coffee's is kicking in. Wanderlust in Evergreen, Colorado. I know it well. Oh, it happened in Colorado. Shit. That's terrible. Lala says, life has become like life on steroids here in the States. Even the dogs are stressed out. No, not the dogs. I wouldn't doubt right now if the pharmaceutical company is coming out with anxiety pills for your dog. That's next, if it ain't already out there. This is not happening. Change the conversation. It happened in Utah. Yeah, I mean, no, I think we need to go there. I think we need to look at it from a different perspective. And like I said, this live stream may not be for everybody. So if it's not you, by all means, bail out. All right. But if it's something you want to stick around for, then stay. I'm not holding you here. It's your choice, okay? I believe in freedom of choice. But like I said, looking at a perspective of his wife being left alone with two young children, okay? One day she's a married woman, the next day she's a widow. I can totally relate to that, okay? I have empathy for this woman. She's, I think around Charlie Kirk's age, she's 31, his wife. The kids are super young. I was 41 when I became a widow. So I was 10 years older than her. I had a boy and a girl. Of course, my kids were older. My daughter was 13 at the time, and my son was 7 when my husband passed away. So I understand her position, because now not only is she dealing with her own grief, but she's going to have to somehow one day, I don't know how she's going to do it with two young kids, but she's going to have to tell them, your dad isn't coming home. That's something I had to go through. And you know, it's not easy, okay? I mean, it's one of the hardest things. If you've never been in that situation, it's one of the hardest things that you'll ever do in your life, is have to tell your children that the other parent isn't coming home. So I get it from her perspective and how rough it's going to be for her and those kids. Let's get back to your questions, or your thoughts, your comments. Wanderlust says, I have a lot of questions about, as far as life. I think our powers that be are going to use this as a slippery slope to take away rights. I'm very worried about the next few months. Yeah, I mean, you do have to live your own life, Wanderlust, Renee, but try not to let it grip you so much with fear and anxiety that you can't live your life. Do you get what I'm saying? I mean, I know it's there, it's in your face, it's all over the news. Will we ever really know the truth about this kid? I call him a kid that unalived him. I mean, if we dig back, do we really know anything about the shooter during the Trump campaign when he shot his ear? That guy that took his own life. Do we really know much about that shooter? No. I think it will be swept under the rug. I think it will be, what do they call, pigeonholed, so that we're made to forget. As time goes on, it's just going to be another notch in the belt. It's just going to be another thing that happened, and that we're going to become immune to the situation. My opinion. Yeah, of course they are. So same day it happened in Colorado. Wow. Yeah, I wonder where these shooters are really coming from. Yeah, doesn't that make you wonder? I mean, I know we can go down a big rabbit hole. We can talk about conspiracy theories all day long. I mean, think about it. We could talk about how they put together these shooters and, you know, they brainwash them, and then, you know, they go out and do their bidding and take care of business, and then they're the ones that are the scapegoats and end up going to jail or commit suicide to get out of the situation. Again, I feel for CK's wife now. I also feel for the shooter's parents, because let's face it, from what I read, they're upstanding citizens. They're American citizens. They got regular jobs like you and I. They got 2 other sons besides that guy. So to even think that you see your son as a suspect on the news, and then you find out he actually unalived some famous person or anybody, and now you're looking at him facing life in prison, if not death penalty. I can't even imagine being a parent in that situation I mean, I hope to God that they're not getting any kind of threats. You know what I mean? Like, think about how crazy people can get that maybe know the shooter's parents, right? And the parents are getting threats from crazy people, you know, maybe around the world, not just in the country. Through emails, they're getting threats, or maybe there's people that they work with that are giving them threats, or, you know, making their life very uncomfortable, all because of what their son did. So see, there's such a ripple effect on both sides. Both families have been just torn apart in a different way. Um, I know, you know, they say forgive and forget, but if I was in that situation, I don't know if I could forgive. I mean, I would try. You would have to learn to do it because you don't want to hold that pain in your heart forever. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want that pain to sit there on your heart. So you would have to forgive. I don't see, there's just no other way. There's no other way. Yeah, so, anywho, whew, all I can say is, whew, it's been a hell of a last 48 hours, guys. It's just been a hell of a last 48 hours. But again, you know, tell me whether you want to drop it in the chat or, you know, like later on if you guys are watching this live stream, how has this affected you? That's what I want to know. Forget your friends, your family, forget, you know, the big social media scene. Is it a big deal right now in your life, or is it not? I mean, I know, Wonder Listener, you were talking about how it's making you anxious, but I want to hear from the others that are in the live stream. So what's Jose saying? 2 reasons I'm moving to Cambodia. One is financial. Second is ice. Okay. Okay. Now, yeah, you've been talking a lot about ice lately. So that's interesting, your perspective. Clark. Hey, Clark, what up? What up, Clark? I just saw your thing pop in. We're having a hell of a conversation. We're just getting warmed up. T says, sorry, I'm really out of the loop on the story. Who was Charlie Kirk? Wow, you are out of the loop. We got to bring you up to speed. I will in just a minute. Lily. As for me, no, I got bigger fish to fry. There you go, girl. There you go. Sadly to say. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I hear ya. You gotta work on you. Renee, it's only making me anxious because I see freedom slipping away and I just want to leave. January is so far away. Not really. When you think about it, September's almost over. What are we, halfway through September? 3 months to go. What is it? I put my fingers up. 3 months to go. But T, yeah, going back, I mean, Charlie Kirk, he was a like a conservative speaker. He would go to different university campuses and he would open up conversation to anybody on college campuses and say, prove me wrong. That was his thing, prove me wrong. So he would, you know, talk about topics such as abortion, being married versus being divorced, you know, those hot topics that it seems like everybody's pulled apart against, you know, guns, anything like that. He would open up those conversations in a friendly, let's have a debate kind of stand thing, and he would just debate. He would debate all the college students on the campuses, and most of the college students would be liberals, right? That's why he was more on the conservative side, and they would have these healthy debates on the college campuses. that's all the man did. I mean, and then, and then all of a sudden he gets boom unalived, and because he was actually speaking on a college campus at the time in Utah, and now he's no longer with us. And that is Charlie Kirk in a nutshell. I mean, I know I'm very much trickling the water down, but I just wanted to give you an overview of the guy. Jose says, I just watched Texas singing beat Notre Dame. Okay. Okay. You're watching some football. Okay. Clark says, won't miss CK. I don't mourn assholes. Wow. Okay. So now you have a different perspective. See, like I was saying, I can't really say that I was totally in love with the guy, but I didn't really hate the guy either. I thought he had some interesting perspectives. I watched some of his stuff here and there, but I wasn't like a big fan. I'm just saying what happened to the man, I don't think should have happened at all. Because let's face it, Clark, okay? He may have been an asshole, but yet our freedom of speech let him be an asshole. Do you get what I'm saying? So whether he's the asshole or you are, not saying you are, I still respect and want to defend your right to say that he's an asshole. You get it? But for me to pull out this and do this because you just said that is not cool, right? That is what I'm saying I don't defend. We all have a right to be assholes. I'm an asshole, okay? I've been called an asshole, all right? I'm a bitch, okay? I've been called a bitch. But you know what? I have the right to be one. That is the beauty of America. We have the right to be what we want to be. We may not disagree on anything, but we should not be unalived because we disagree. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you see where I'm going with that? Hey, Platinum Swords. Hey, welcome to the live stream. Lily says, I agree with you, Tam. Jose, I have to ask you, Tammy, do you keep up with the news from the U.S.? I'm 50-50. I try not to do too much of it, but when big things hit, like this thing with CK, then I feel like, yeah, I sort of got inundated into the rabbit hole, and that's why I'm having this talk today. You're going to use the B word? Hey, I beat you to the punch there, Lily. Okay, so Clark says, Charlie told Bolak person he would be better off as a slave. Charlie supported genocide in Israel. I don't think he should have been murdered. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't totally agree with everything he said, but then I don't totally disagree with everything he said. But for somebody to get online, and I've seen some TikToks, they're off the chain, like people are actually celebrating that he's unalive, and they're saying that he deserved it. Think about it. Do any of us deserve to be unalive for our thoughts and what we think? And should we actually be afraid to actually say what we think? I mean, come on. We're American citizens, okay? Our Constitution's built on the trust and faith that we have the right to speech. But yet now, we have to be careful what we say. It's not just being cut off from social media, right? That's one thing. I mean, going all hail Google, like I'm having to be really careful with my words on this live stream. That's sort of a little thing, but it's another thing when I can't be out on the streets in America having a conversation, let's say with my daughter, private conversation, but somebody overhears it and they don't like what I said, and then they want to come up and they either want to like throw acid on me or they want to stab me or whatever because of my own opinion, that's a problem. That's a problem. Yeah. That is the irony of liberals. They preach peace, but are willing to murder you to make a point. Yeah. That's why I'm not left or right, Clark. I'm for Team America, okay? I don't support the red or the blue. I really don't even say I'm an independent. I don't even want to vote. And I know that sounds crazy because how can we get things done if we don't vote? But yet I haven't seen a reason to vote. I don't know. Maybe one day a man or a woman is going to step up and they're going to be that person. And they're going to be Team America. And that is the person I'm going for. Yeah. Team America. Who says we're going to have a long talk when we meet? Okay, I'm up for it, man. I'm up for it. Lily. Yep, and that's the scary part. You have to watch what you say nowadays. Exactly. You can't be you. Exactly. Renee says, I stopped voting and removed myself from the voter rolls. Voting is an illusion. We have a say. Just done. Yeah, I think it's really just to it's like a little, it's smoke and mirrors to say, hey, you know, you have a right to vote, but we're really going to vote for you. You know what I mean? We're going to put up the choices, and you're going to pick between the horses, but we've chose both of the horses for you to pick. I don't like that. Emery girl, welcome in. It really bothers me that there cannot be civil discourse. It bothers me that people are so divided. Yeah, it bothers me too. The political violence and people celebrating is very disconnecting and disheartening, or disconcerting. Sorry, my eyeballs. I know, I get it, girl. I get it, girl. That's how I feel too. Well, here's somebody new in the chat. Meatballs? I love it. Welcome, Meatballs. Yeah, like I just got booted and had to use my tab. I didn't say anything to censor. Huh. Wow. You got booted. Interesting. Right the right to vote. Yeah. Right. Okay, so you guys agree. Jose, can I ask a favor, please? Can you show me the wall outlet behind you? Oh, yeah. The wall outlet. Yeah, let's do that. Let me lift my camera. Let's see if you can see it. There it is. Does that help? That's my wall outlet. Yeah. But there's actually more. I mean, I got more. What's weird, I can't plug in from my laptop to that because of the way the prongs are. But there's another wall outlet that actually has the light switches built in it, and that's the one I can plug into. It's really fucking strange. That's all I gotta tell you guys. I got the light on behind me because I couldn't burn my candle. I was starting to burn the shelf. And I'm responsible for any fires in here. That's per my lease, okay? I just signed my new lease and read it, and I was like, oh, if I start a fire, I'm totally responsible. And I was like, oh shit. Anyway, let me get back to your comments. You're welcome. That's one crazy outlet. Yeah, bro. I mean, you're in Asia, okay? That's how we roll out here. Crazy outlets all day, every day. Man, speaking of crazy, we had some rain last night, bro. I'm telling you what, it started cranking raining, I'd say about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. And at first it was like it would rain, then it would stop, rain, then stop. And then it started getting really heavy, like monsoon rain, like buckets coming down 100 miles an hour. Of course, you know, on these tin roofs, it echoes, right? And then it wouldn't stop. So it was monsoon raining from, let's say, about 5 in the afternoon all the way till I went to bed at 11 o'clock last night. 6 hours straight, fast rain. My whole my street and everything was flooded out. So I was like, well, but the power stayed on. There was thunder, there was lightning. I was like, shit, I bet the power's gonna go out, and there goes my air conditioning, right? Stayed on all night, thank God. But yeah, I read today that we had 1 inch of rain last night, and today they're predicting a ½ inch, so you're gonna have to get a raft, okay? They don't have renter's insurance out here, not that I've heard. I'll have to look into that, but I don't think they sell renter's insurance out here. It ain't the States, Jose, okay? Platinum says, I would have slept like a baby in that rain. Yeah, I did. I went to bed and I just zoinked out. It got quiet. I think it was noisy out here. My crazy neighbor doing her partying on a Saturday night. She had her music blasting through the kitchen. I can hear, at least it was good music. So she was doing her partying and shit till about 7 o'clock last night. And then I guess because the hard rain, she just decided to turn off the radio and just listen to the rain. I was like, thank God. And then all the people that were out at the restaurant last night, they all left. Like the whole place just shut down because, I mean, it was a monsoon, right? So it was super quiet. So I'm on my laptop last night. I was watching some YouTube and I was doing some other work online. And I'm just listening to the rain, and it was just like, I had the candlelight going. I was like, I'm ready to drift out, right on the couch. I'm just like, oh, this is so nice. And then I just finally said, it's time to call the ball. I'm going to bed. Anyway, what's the number one thing you don't like about Cambodia? Good question. What do I don't like about Cambodia? That we don't have seasons. I know that sounds crazy. I mean, you've got hot and rainy, and then you got hot and dry. So the seasons is the big thing. Lily says, Tammy, I don't know if you remember, I just seen your channel, your energy and vibes. Yes, I'm a new subscriber to the channel. Oh, thank you, Lily T. Thank you. I like your little dance thing. A little dance emoji. That's cool. Thank you for being a new subscriber. I appreciate you, and I appreciate the kind words. That's cool. Emery Girl, do they sell those big power backups that serve the same purpose as a generator if the power goes out? I don't know. That's a good question. I have no idea. Now, I've been in some different like malls and stores, and I've seen like, you know, electrical equipment, but I haven't seen it on a generator, so I have no idea. I don't know. Mosquitoes, I mean, yeah, mosquitoes are a problem, Jose, but they're not that big a problem. In fact, I killed 2 of them on my leg last night. They're so easy to get, you know what I mean? Like, you can see them hovering around your legs, so you just wait for them to land, and you just go like that. Boom! And they're gone. That's it. So I got 2 of them suckers yesterday. Wonderless says, are electronics cheaper in SEA than the US? I need a tablet or one of those small iPads. Not an iPad because I don't like them, but there's something similar. It depends on the brand you get. So yes and no. Okay? Just depends on the brand. Like I've seen, like, you know, right now I have an iPhone SE phone. If I was trying to get an iPhone, it would be expensive out here. But if I just wanted a Chinese brand kind of cell phone, cheap as shit, man. I could pick one of those up for $200, a brand new cell phone out here. So it depends on the brand. Clark says, how do you get around town? Do you ride a motorcycle or do you use Uber? There's no Uber out here, and no, I do not ride a moto. No motos for me. We have what's called Grab, which is similar to Uber, and they're tuk-tuks. So instead of a car coming to get you, which you can get a car, you can still order a car, but they're more expensive. But you can get a tuk-tuk, which is open air, and they're cheaper. And I love tuk-tuks. So I do the tuk-tuks on the Grab app, and that's how I get around. Like, you know, when I went to the grocery store, like it's 1 block down the road. It cost me 80 cents by ride to get to the store. So it's super cheap. Meatballs. I love your handle, dude. I was saving after getting my PASAP and TEFL. Oh, your passport, sorry. I was saving after getting my passport and TEFL, then I lost my job, killed my motivation. Well, don't let it kill your motivation, man. Save up some money. You really don't need much money to get out here, but the thing is you need money to sustain you till you find other work. So my best suggestion, if you're trying to get out here to get a job because you're getting a TEFL, you better have at least, to be comfortable, I would say give yourself $3,000 in the bank so that, you know, you're able to like rent something out here while you're looking for work. Give yourself maybe 30 days. I think you would find a job just like that. As long as you have your TEFL certificate, you got a good resume put together. You really don't need a college degree or experience, but the TEFL, you have to get a certified copy of your TEFL. And just boots on the ground, man. There's schools everywhere, okay? I would hit up the I would say hit up the international schools. The public schools you could probably get real easy, but the work environment's gonna be shit. I'm just telling you, may not be no air conditioning in that school. It's gonna be very uncomfortable. But if you can get with the international schools or the language schools, they usually have AC in the rooms. You'll have a better shot at it and you'll make a little more bread. So don't give up. Good night. Okay, good night, S Travels. Good night. Okay, meatballs. Anyone know a legit way of making a few grand quick? Shit. Good question. A legit way? I know a few ways to do it illegally, but I ain't saying it on YouTube. Clark says, how much do you spend on transport on a normal month? Oh my gosh. Depending on what I'm doing and where I'm going. I was just calculating that the other day. 14 bucks a week times 4. What is that? 4 times 4 is 16. 56 bucks? $56 a month on transportation. Now they have buses out here too, which are cheaper than the tuk-tuk rides. I know some people, expats out here that actually do the bus thing, but I don't have a bus route that's out here near my neighborhood that's close, and I'm like, fuck it, it's not that much more money. The buses are only 37 cents a ride. Be right back, Tam, if you're still on the live. Okay, Lily, we'll see you later. Wonderlust Renee, can I get TEFL over in Southeast Asia? I don't know that I can get it before they... Girl, just go online, man. You can get it before you leave. There's a million companies you can go through to get your TEFL. The only thing I say is get one that is accredited. It's an accredited company, and do it for 120 hours. And there's all different price ranges. Just research on Google. You can get it done online before you leave, because you don't have to do it physically. Just get it done online. That's what I did. I just have it already. Yeah, 120 hours. That's all you need, meatballs. Perfect. Platinum Swords. What's required for the year-long visa? Last I heard, you just arrive and they stamp it. Maybe I heard wrong. No, you can't. You got to come in on a 30-day. I don't know who's telling you you can get a year right up front. If you plan to retire here or, actually work, do not come in on a tourist visa. That's going to be a problem. Come in on an e-visa or an ordinary visa. It's the same thing, or even the thing, it's called a business visa. So it's got 3 names: e-visa, ordinary visa, or business visa. They all mean the same. Get that for 30 days. You can get it online, okay, before you arrive, or you can get it when you get to the airport if you prefer to do that. But they want cash only, and it has to be USD crispy dollars. So my recommendation is you do it online. Then when you're here and you plan to renew for the year, you can renew that e-visa that you got for 30 days for the year. That's how they do it out here. I have not heard of anybody coming in on a year visa. They just don't do it. So holy shit, Batman, it's cheaper transportation. Yeah, no shit, right? They have it for free. Yeah, you can get a TEFL. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. They don't give a shit what you learned off your TEFL. They don't. You can get some cracker box TEFL as long as it's accredited for 120 hours. Really don't know what the fuck you're doing, and they'll hire you. You ever heard of the phrase, fake it till you make it? That was me. I'm a prime example of fake it till you make it, and I still got hired, okay? I mean, I went through a school to get some like classroom training. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I'm gonna be honest with you. They gave me a lesson plan and said, get in there and teach those kids. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, I'll just pretend I'm on YouTube, but instead of me staring at a camera, I'll be staring at 20 little faces that are looking at me, right? And then I'll just be the little dancing bear. Okay, we're gonna learn our ABCs, hey! Right? And then you start writing on the board and, hey, can you hear me? Can you see me? And you just start singing and dancing, and they fucking love you. And that's all you gotta do, especially with the kindergarten kids. Now, when we get into the older section, that might be different, but you're gonna get a kindergarten job super easy out here. Buy a fake TEFL. No, I mean, like I said, you have to get, they're still gonna check your TEFL. I wouldn't go fake. You might fuck the whole thing up. But you can go on like Groupon, I've heard some people do this. They go on Groupon, they get a coupon, and they got their TEFL for $8, okay? Now, I didn't do that. I went through Bridge. I don't know if you ever heard of Bridge Education. And I think I paid $100 for mine. But there was a lot of good courses. I did everything online. Passed all the courses, and I got an accredited TEFL for $100. But yeah, you can go as cheap as $8 though. What's Wonderlust saying? I only have a phone now, no computer, because I went out on disability from work. Don't you have to do live teaching classes? No. Nope. When I got my 120 hours, it was all online training modules. That's what I'm saying. I had no classroom experience at all. I did all that in the United States before I left. And yeah, I was scared. I was like, well, that's why I went ahead and paid to go with that Australian outfit so I can get some on-the-job training before I actually got hired. And that's really what that was, because I already had the online training, so they just stuck me in classrooms and just said, go for it. But I mean, it was really weird because it was like, I could have done that anyway without having to pay these jokers. I could have just now that I know what I know, I could have just come to Cambodia with my resume and my TEFL and said, here. And they'd be like, you have any experience? I'll be like, well, I even told them, I says, I have 1 week of training in classroom. When I was talking for some interviews, I said, and besides that, I've done volunteer work online. So I have a couple years training on that where I taught English online as a volunteer. I worked with a Canadian outfit and then one in America, and it was on my resume, and she's like, okay. Like I took the one principal, she's like, well, I got a job opening right now teaching kindergartners. Are you interested? And I was like, first I was like, fuck no, I don't want to teach these young fuckers. And then I was like, shit. Sort of want to get the money, but then the whole thing blew up in my face, ended up being a disaster anyway. Not that I'm saying that would happen to you. It just wasn't my cup of tea, okay? I'm just saying. I learned that lesson. Let's see, Jose says, when I arrive, I'll be landing at the new airport. That's right, it's opened, Teco International, woohoo! Yes, you will. Renee says, I got a laptop on Amazon for less than $200. Okay, there you go. There you go. Good, good. Y'all share your info. Meatballs. How much did you get paid to start? We negotiated. They don't pay big out here, but what they do pay you, they pay you 3 times. You're going to get paid more because you are international, okay? You're a Westerner. But yeah, I was going to make, what the fuck was I going to make? $1,300 a month. Now that doesn't seem like a lot in American standards, but in Cambodia, that's a lot of fucking money, okay? But you only get paid once a month, but it was $1,300 a month is what my negotiated rate was. I never made it to that because I quit within a week. All right. Renee says, I'm a nurse educator, the main educator for our team. I'm used to teaching adults. There you go. See, you can take that experience, that is a skill, even though it's not teaching kids, but you have a background of teaching. Put that on your resume if that's what you want to do when you come out here, Renee. They'll hire you just like that, man. They'll be like, oh, cool. Meatball, so what did you do after that, the bad experience with kindergarten class? Well, see, I'm in a different, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 55. Well, at the time when I came out here, I was 54. So I knew I was getting a pension at 55, right? So my goal when I first came out here was just to teach, to get some money until my pension rolled in. And I was thinking, but if I really liked it, I would keep the job and of course have the pension money and I'd have double income. Okay, how about now? How about now? Anything happening? Oh no. Come on, guys. Are we good? Can you see me? Hey, we're good. We're back in town. Sorry, Wi-Fi. It's cloudy out right now. You got me? Hey, I got you too. All right. Oh, still frozen? Okay, so some of you got me and some of you don't. All right, I don't know. Yeah, refresh your page. Video's good here. Okay, well, I'm glad some of you do, but I'm sorry some of you don't, so I guess, yeah, we'll just move on. Where were we? What were we talking about? Let me go back on the comments. Working. Oh, okay. Oh, you asked me if they paid me for the week. Let me tell you what happened, Meatballs. You probably didn't catch my video on that. Here's the dealio. This was a clause in their contract that I didn't, well, I mean, I was briefly told by my principal, because of course I didn't think nothing of it, because I thought, well, I'm going to keep this job, right? Cool, I'm glad you see me. But there's a clause in their contract that says if you, what is it? I forget how they word it. In other words, I forfeited my first week's pay because I quit within the week. In other words, oh, there's a deposit. That's what it is. They said if I quit within the year, it was within the year, not even a month. If I quit the job before the end of the contract, which was a year contract, that they would withhold a $200 deposit from my paycheck. Now think about this. You're only making $1,300 a month. Divide that by 4, right? So what's 1 week's pay? It's close to 2. It's, yeah, 2,468. It's a little bit more. Well, anyway, fast numbers in my head. I didn't get my money. Because literally, even though I was there a week, the first 2 days I didn't get paid because they considered that observation days. So I was there Monday through Friday, but Monday and Tuesday I didn't get paid because I had to observe the other teachers. So I was just there all day for free. Okay, it was observation day. Then Wednesday through Friday is when my paycheck started, but those 3 days I didn't even make $200. So whatever I made, they kept. So yeah, that's a thing out here, man. I'm telling you. There's really no sick days. This is not America, okay? Like, if you call out sick, she told me, on Monday or Friday, they will dock you 3 days pay plus the day you're off. So figure that out. So if you call off sick on a Friday, not only do you not get paid for Friday, but you don't get paid for Monday through Wednesday the next week. That's a thing out here. Now, if you called out sick Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, they won't dock you 3 days. They'll just dock you for that day. Because they figure, you're playing hooky. You're trying to get the weekend, 3-day weekend, so they're going to dock you 3 days pay. Even if you are legitimately sick. FYI, I used to do a lot of that shit at my job in the United States. But I got paid. That's the difference. So, I'm telling you, it's a whole thing out here, man. It's like, you may be the Western dancing bear, and they pay you good money to be in that classroom, but it's their rules. It's their country, it's their rules, and they're going to treat you the way they want to treat you. I'm just saying, you ain't getting no FMLA out here. You're not getting paid sick days. You're going to be lucky to get 1 week off. She told me that we're giving me 1 week off at the end of the year paid around Christmas time. Other than the national Cambodian holidays, which they do have a lot of them, but yeah, I mean, there's some strict rules to teaching out here. Can you negotiate out of that, the deposit? Why was the first job so bad? No, there's no negotiating because I signed the contract. It was in the contract. Like when we had the interview and I was talking to the principal, she told me all this shit up front. And at the time I was just thinking, well, how hard can it be to teach kindergarten kids? And I would like to have the paycheck. So I just signed, right? But it's in the contract. There's no negotiating out of that shit. I'll tell you about why the first job was so bad. I wonder if it's that strict in all of SC. I don't know about Vietnam or Thailand, but that's what's happening out here. Jose, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that shit. Yeah, right. Oh, Platinum Swords, you're out past midnight here and my eyes are burning. Okay, yeah, go to bed. Thank you for joining. Namaste. Good night. But yeah, going back to your question, Meatballs, why was the first job so bad? Wow, so many things. first thing, I'm not used to teaching kindergartners. I've never taught kindergarten kids. They're wild, okay? You're supposed to have a TA in the classroom with you at all times to keep them, a teacher's assistant to keep the kids calm. That was their job, and to help you hand out books and papers and all of that while you focused on teaching the material. My teacher's assistant, for some reason, had to use the bathroom every classroom, and that would happen 10 minutes in. She'd get the kids settled, then she'd come to me and say, "Teacher, I need to use the bathroom. Can I go?" And I was like, "Well, you're a grown-ass woman." "Yeah." So I let her go. She disappeared the whole classroom. So I have a 40-minute classroom. She was only there 10 minutes, gone. I had to be responsible for keeping not only the kids calm, but teaching the material, and they were off the chain. I had kids crawling on the floor. Like, their attention spans that of like a fucking flea. Like, it's like you got maybe, if you're lucky, 10 minutes you can keep their attention, and the rest of the time they're just, you know, screaming, "Ah!" And they're throwing shit, and it's just like they're coming up to you. Then I had kids coming up to me and just like latching on to me. They're all over my legs. "We love you, teacher," and they're hugging all over my body. I got sick because of that. I love kids, don't get me wrong, but I mean, it was out of control. And then, yeah, the germ factor. So the germs are different out here, right? I caught a cold the first few days I was there. So I was working under those conditions. I was super sick, but I knew I couldn't call out sick. So I'm working with this, like, some kind of congestion that I had going on. I could barely talk. My throat was starting to get sore and go out. And I had to yell at these kids to keep them calm. Oh man, I ended up with a headache to beat the band. It was terrible. It was terrible. That was just some of the shit that I had to go through. That's why I quit. Emory girl, so I'm assuming that the school year is all year with no summers off in the US. Is that right? Yes and no. They don't actually get summer break per se, but they do get a break. But it's weird out here. Like, they don't get 3 months off in a row. They get like, and it's not like June, July, August, I don't know, it's other times of the year, but they get like 2 weeks off, and then they go back to school, and then they maybe get another 2 weeks off. It's broken up. Then they go back to school. These kids are always in school, always. In fact, some of them even go to class on Saturdays. You could end up with a job teaching 6 days a week. It's a thing out here too. So yeah, yeah, it's not, and and believe me, even if they had these kids off for 3 months in the summer, they're not going to pay you for that. They don't do that. This is not the United States. It's just a whole nother ball game out here with teaching. Whole nother ball game. But the other thing, Meatball's, about like what was going on, there's just certain little things I didn't jive with. Like, they said my hours were 8 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. Okay? But they wanted me there at 7:30 in the morning sharp. That was part of my contract. I said, "Why do I have to be there a half hour early?" And they said, "Because we line up all the teachers in front of the school wall like a fucking jail shot." Think of this. Like a jailhouse shot, okay? They put all of us in front of the wall, right off the road. Everybody sees us, traffic going by. So you're standing up against the wall, and you got to smile, and they take your picture every morning at 7:30. Why they did that? I don't know. I'm fucking dead tired. I mean, I'm like, I had to get a tuk-tuk like at 7 a.m., sometimes 6:45 in the morning to get there on time at 7:30 across town, because I was across town. Traffic's horrible. I barely got coffee in me. If you could, I'm just like, you know, and I'm just like, fuck it, just take my picture. I don't really care. So I had to do that every single day for whatever reason. Other things, they constantly snap pictures in the classroom. They have cameras in the classroom. They have video cams all throughout the schools. They are watching everything you do, even in the break rooms. I'm surprised they didn't have one in the bathroom. But there's video cams in the classroom. They take pictures of you. Like, you'll be in the middle of teaching an assignment, and they just open up the door, distracting the kids. I mean, you just got the kids calm and you're trying to teach something, and then they just open up the door, picture time, and the kids are like, ah, and then they start snapping all these pictures, right? And then they get bye, and they shut the door, and the kids are like, ah, and then I got to get them all calm again. I'm like, what the fuck is this? They were doing that every day, like 2 times in every classroom I was in. It was some crazy shit. It was crazy. Got to the point where I said, fuck this. Luckily, I have some other money coming in. I ain't got to do this. Oh man, I wish I was independently wealthy. Yeah, I know. No shit. So for the best job and higher pay, you said stay away from public schools. Yeah, public schools are the bottom of the barrel, man. Like, those are the schools that will take literally anybody off the street and put you up as a teacher. But they don't pay well, and they're going to be worse conditions. The school I was in was actually an international school, believe it or not, which means it's a private school that the parents have to pay for their kids to go. But the conditions were that bad too. So I think the only jobs that are actually really worth having is if you're teaching adults, of course, or you're teaching, say, teenagers. Let's say maybe you're a professor. Like, let's put it this way. Let's say you have a college degree yourself in science, or you actually have a college degree in English or business or something like that, where you can be specific to that subject and say, yeah, I have a bachelor's in science, you know, or whatever. Then you can get on as a professor, and you'll make more money than I made, and you'll probably have better conditions, because that's cream of the crop, right? But if you don't have that kind, you're not going to get those kind of jobs. Why do they do that? It's Cambodia. You know, we're strangers in a strange land. Like, this isn't our country. We can't change what they do. This is what they do. This is their rules. You know, I can't answer why they do it, but that's what they're allowed to get away with, and that's why they do it. Sounds like you need a police whistle. I needed something. I'm going to tell you what, maybe a stiff drink. So yeah. So you found a better job? Maybe I should try online tutoring. Online tutoring, you know what? I hate to scare you away from teaching in a classroom, because you might find something really good. You know, that was just my personal experience. You might find something super badass, perfect, just for you. So I wouldn't, you know, just put it aside, say don't do it. But you can do online tutoring as well. So put in your resume and try to do some online teaching. There's a lot of people that live out here that do online teaching. In fact, you might want to get with an outfit called Lingo Ace. If you ever heard of Lingo Ace, they're based out of China. I wouldn't say they're the best company in the world, but you can get hired on really fast with Lingo Ace. Give them a shot. Oh, I could do that. I have a bachelor's in science. There you go. There you go. So if you put that on there and say I got a bachelor's in science, I could teach science classes. You may get a better deal. That's what I'm saying. So Emery Girl says, are there other jobs available for expats than just teaching? I don't know. I can't answer that. I mean, Maybe. Well, I'll tell you what. Hold on. Battery. I knew that was going to happen. My battery's starting to die out, but I got my battery back. You know the first dude that I interviewed, Dennis? Well, he does video editing and shit. After we did our interview, we walked around this office complex that was near the park. And he just happened to look in this window and he saw this kid editing a video. So he knocked on the door and talked to the kid. He barely knew English, but the kid got his manager out who did speak English. And him and the manager had a conversation about work. I was pretty impressed. I was like, look at him hustling. He goes, here's my phone number on WhatsApp. He goes, I'm looking for work. I'm a video editor. If you need a video editor, you know, I'm an independent contractor. I just came in from the States. He was rapping his shit to this lady. I don't know if he ever got the job, but I know down the road he said something about he lined up some work. So he did it. I think it's, you know, it's just the old-fashioned thing. It's not like the United States where you just put out your resumes everywhere and hope for somebody to call you in for an interview. You actually go out there and just hit the streets and just say, hey, are you looking for work? You know, and just have your stuff ready or give your phone number out and then, of course, follow up. So, yeah, he got a job. I don't know if it was that job, but he landed a job. Hold on, let me just plug this in, guys. There we go. Back in business. Yay! All right, back to your questions. I think you could bring a fake degree to be specialized. No, because I have a bachelor's degree in linguistics, and that's another thing. They told me it has to be an official transcript. So if you do carry a college degree, you have to have the official transcript. They'll know. Because that's one thing they're going to scrutinize is your TEFL and your actual degree. So no, you're not going to be able to get away with that. Microbiology, chemistry, biology, and all science. Wow, related to the human body. We're supposed to teaching that stuff floats my boat. There you go. Oh, Wonderless Renee. There is, I pass it all the time. There is a medical institute for nurses out here. They're learning medical stuff, okay? Right up your alley. I'll have to get the name of this place. It's not far from the Royal Phnom Penh Hospital. I pass it all the time by tuk-tuk. I can't think of the name, but I remember it saying Medical Institute. So I'm thinking, what a great place to start with your resume, bring in your official transcript, see if you can land a job teaching these nurses out here. That's a thought. I'll try to get the name for you. So in an emergency, are options for expats to get other work enough to survive, like security? Again, you're putting questions out there I can't answer. I'm sorry, meatballs. Here's one thing I can say to you, that this is a very, this country supports entrepreneurship big time. You know why? Because the Cambodian government is not like the US government. There's no safety net per se for the ordinary person who's not retired. There's no food stamps. There's nothing like that shit out here, okay? But you don't need a license to sell anything out here. Like I've seen people go down to the riverbanks, Cambodian people go to the riverbank, scoop up clams, okay, they have clams out there, they clean them up, they cook them up, and then they turn around and sell them right off of their motorbike or their bicycle. And they make money. I've seen people down at the, you call Walking Street, like every weekend they shut off the street right in front of the riverbank. It's called Walking Street. Hundreds of vendors all set up, or even people like they don't have tents. I've seen people just sitting on the sidewalks with, let's say, a blanket set out in front of them with food for sale, baked goods that they made themselves. Shit, if you know how to bake a cake or cookies, you may be able to just set up and just sell shit on the side of the road every weekend. I'm just saying that's the things that I've seen. But yeah, if you've got any Yankee ingenuity in you and you really want to sell shit out here, just because you're a Westerner, I don't think they would care. They don't care. Should they let Westerners actually own businesses out here? You don't have to marry a Cambodian to actually own a business out here. I found that out on one of my live streams. I don't know if you caught that. If you haven't, you should go back and see it. I was talking to this guy who's a Greek guy who owns a Thai restaurant in Cambodia. Go figure that, right? You want me to get the info for you? Yeah, I'll try to remember that. When I go past it, I'm gonna write it down and I'll get it for you. Or I'll tell you what, I might be able to look that up online. In fact, let's do that right now while we're thinking about it. That's a good question. I got my laptop here. Open a business. There you go. What you guys open up a business, bro? I'm telling you, it's possible. It's possible. Sorry, guys. Not that I'm ignoring you, but I'm just pulling up Google Maps right now because I'm curious to see if I can find that medical institute for you. Okay, Renee? So give me just a second. Let me go by the Royal Phnom Penh Hospital. I'm going to pull that up on the map and see if I see it across the street. Let's see. Let me see. Where the heck is it? Oh my gosh. I know it was around this hospital. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's try this. Let me just look up Medical Institute. Phnom Penh. Oh yeah, wow. University of Health Sciences. That's one of them. That may be it. It says Good Medical University on here. Health Science Institute of RCAF. National Institute of Public Health. It's a government office. Technical School for Medical Care. I think that's it. Technical School for Medical Care. But yeah, when I actually drive past it, let me see which one it is. But that's some right there. That's right on the map. Right there. Let's see. Interested a few days ago in opening an aesthetic clinic that does port, Botox, and fillers. I'm trained in that too. I don't know if a lot of people are into Botox out here. You'd have to do your research on that. I haven't seen too many clinics or like beauty shops or anything that are specializing in Botox. I don't know if that's a big deal out here. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if they can afford it. That's true, meatballs. I don't think they can afford it. Is there a market there for aesthetics or not? I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. You might want to check that out on your own. What goods and services are in demand out there? Again, this is a more like, think of textile services like clothes, tailored clothes. They make clothes out here like crazy. Think of goods and services like electronics, um, washing machines, you know, home goods, furniture. Oh, they make furniture out here like crazy. Homemade like cabinets and shit like that, benches, chairs. They're more of a hands-on kind of culture. Think of course, food, restaurants, coffee shops up the ass out here, not to mention just people on the streets selling food, selling produce, selling cooked foods, you know, frying up chickens on the side of the road, fried bananas, like all of that is a thing. Think of tourist things that they put together, like they make bracelets, handmade bracelets, silk cloth, sarongs. That's the kind of stuff that's out here, what's going on that I see. Tuk-tuk driver, exactly. That's another one. Of course they make clothes because I can't even sew a button. Hey, I can't either, but I managed to sew the holes up in my shirt and it's still holding together. Of course I haven't washed it yet. They'll probably all come apart when I wash it, right? But yeah, but a tuk-tuk driver, that's another thing. I don't think you need any education on that. If you can afford to buy a tuk-tuk, and they got them for sale everywhere. There's places all up and down these roads that sell tuk-tuks and they sell motorbikes, okay? I don't know how much a tuk-tuk is, but you can buy a brand new one. I seen one that I wouldn't mind just for myself if I was not afraid to drive, but they got the doors on it. They got the nice tops. They're all padded. I mean, soft and cushiony seats. And it's just a three-wheeler kind of motorbike, but it looks like a mini car. They're so cool. I love it. They're cheap on gas. And look at all the apps you can work for. It's not only you could work for Grab, but you got the Pass app, you got Tada app, and I think there's another one. But you can have all three of them and just be driving around all damn day driving people and making money. Now you're going to be making Cambodian money, but you're going to be living as a Cambodian. Okay, so let's see. You can probably order electronics on Alibaba, resell on the side of the road. Yeah, you could do that. You could do that. Just hang on to your stuff. Make sure nobody steals it. Especially cell phones, okay? People love the cell phones out here. Do you know if stores in the mall do deliveries? Yeah, they do. There's apps for everything out here. When I first moved out here, I couldn't find like a local grocery store, so I looked up an app for grocery delivery. They have them. Like the Eon Mall, they have their own supermarket. I hopped on their app and I had groceries delivered. Wasn't that expensive. I mean, if you had the fees and everything, I think I spent $40 to have my groceries delivered, and I got a week's worth of groceries, so it was pretty cheap. It was pretty cheap. Sorry if I'm looking like I'm getting darker, but the sky's getting darker. Or I'm looking red, one of the two. We need to keep in touch. We need to strategize, get open a business, survive. Yeah, or like I say, you can always take a teaching job temporarily. If you can put up with the bullshit, you can make some money, get your money together, and then work from there. Yeah, you guys need to like exchange information. But Meatballs, if you want to get in touch with me personally, here, let me put this down. That's my business email. Okay, for anybody who wants to write me, has any other questions after the live stream, I'll help you out the best I can, okay? T, I'm considering volunteer work as an English teacher's assistant. There you go. There you go. You can do that too. Of course, that's volunteer. You're not getting paid, but if you've got a pension or you got Social Security coming in, you're going to be just fine. And it'll give you something to do. And you'll get experience. I know I have a light behind me. Woo! You'll get experience. And I would, here's another thing, Meatballs. Check out learning centers, okay? Both you and Wanderlust Renee, learning centers out here. They're independent, private things. Are separate from the schools, but they mostly have adults that want to learn English. And there's a lot of English learning centers that will hire Westerners. Now, it's a little harder to get on there, but I hear it's better conditions. I mean, I personally tried to get on one that was close to my house, but they already had everybody they needed and they weren't hiring anybody else. So that's another thought. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm glad you guys are asking the questions. What else is on your mind? What else is on your mind? And don't forget, I don't know if I can talk. Don't forget to give this a thumbs up if you haven't already, this live stream. Got to keep the channel moving. Jose says, open an Italian restaurant if you know how to cook Italian food. Yeah, there's Italian restaurants out here. Yep. I went to one not long ago. It was really good. So how do you travel with resumes and stuff, especially if customs immigration looks? Oh, no, it's no big deal. It's just a piece of paper, right? Resume. What I did, I got me a regular brown envelope and I put all my important papers in there before I left. Immigration didn't even look. I had it packed in my backpack and nobody, if they scan your back, they don't care. They didn't care. You're welcome. You're welcome, Meatballs. How do I stay in touch, Renee? Okay, yeah, you guys got to get in touch. Yeah, but it's easy. You just put it in a brown envelope, and that's it. It's nothing hard. It's nothing difficult, guys. I think you're overthinking it. Don't overthink it, man. Coming out here is super easy. Once you get in here, things are so laid back and easy. Except my landlady got a little. Same with my degrees and certifications. Yeah, all of it. Just everything put together in a manila envelope so you have it in one spot and it's safe, and just throw it in your suitcase or whatever and come on down. I still got my stuff in my manila envelope. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I told you guys, but I'm getting ready to sign my second lease here in my apartment. And I tried to negotiate with my landlady about that 50% off the rent deal. Because I don't know if you guys have followed me before. You guys remember when we first talked about signing a 1-year lease, she offered me 50% off the rent, and the rent at the time was $350. She said, if you pay me 50% of the monthly rent times 12, we can make that deal. And at the time, I didn't have the cash, and I was like, fuck, that's a good deal. So I declined, right? But then I talked her down to $20 off the rent. So now I got my rent down to $330 a month, and I'm getting ready to sign that lease. So she puts the lease out to me the other day, and she goes, just look it over and make sure everything's good before you sign it. So I read it, and it said within the lease, like if you can't negotiate or change any of the conditions till the lease is over again in a year. And I thought, you know what? Let me just throw it out there again and see if I can get that 50% off at the current rent at $330 for 6 months. I was going to see if she'd bite on that. She wouldn't do it, guys. Oh my God, I tried so hard. I was like, come on, man. I was like, Therif, that's her name. I says, you got a renter already upstairs now. At the time when we talked, you didn't have another renter. I said, you got them paying all the rent. Can't you cut me some slack? You know, let me have this 50% off deal. I'll pay you for 6 months up front, and then I'll do another 6 months when the time comes. And she's like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. So I was sort of pissed. I was like, fuck. So she goes, you still want the year lease? And I was like, no. I said, let me go ahead and just get this. Let me get the 6-month lease. So I just went ahead and signed it for 6 months at the regular $330 rate, which I'm not complaining. I did get the rent knocked down by $20. I was just hoping she'd do that 50% off deal so that I could stack my coins quicker, pay myself the full rent instead of her. But it didn't work out that way. But I'm probably thinking that maybe she'll budge when I sign another lease down the road. I'm gonna try to work her again in 6 months. Or maybe get my rent down to $300. I don't know, we'll see. Let me get back to your stuff. I'm Italian American, I can cook, good Italian food. Takes money to start that up though. Yeah, that's true. Well, that's good. You're Italian. Okay. Unless you set up shop on the side of the road, you could do that. Guys, I mean, you could look into buying like a motorbike cart or just a stationary cart and just setting up on the road and cooking Italian food. I haven't seen anybody do that yet, right? I've seen a lot of Khmer food on the side of the road, but I haven't seen Italian, so there's an idea. One of those I'm Italian too and can cook amazing homemade Italian food. I think we might have an option. There you go. I think you guys have a plan. No, it's not going to be as expensive. So don't expect to be charging $10 a plate unless you're making some really good bomb food. If you're going to do on the road, you better be looking at $3 a plate. You better even go cheaper than that, you know. Do you have a pool in that building? No, no, no. This is a private building. No pool. No pool here. No kidding. That's wild. Yeah, yeah, that is wild. That was wild. I was like, bro, I was so wanting that deal. Banking concern. T has a banking concern. I've heard you shouldn't notify your bank about living abroad. Yeah, don't do it. Thinking I should open an account with Charles Schwab and use their debit card. Yes, that's what I do. T, that's my game plan. I've been doing it for years since I left the United States, okay? Listen to me, that is what you do. I kept my US bank, okay? I have a credit union account in the US, okay? So my money toggles between there. Did not tell either one of them that I left the United States. I actually put my daughter's physical address of where I'm living, so it's on file that I still have a US address. I still have a US phone number, so they can send me 2-factor verification through my phone, right? That's why I kept my US carrier Mint. But I toggle between that and my Cambodian SIM card, right? So when I'm just here, I just leave my Cambodian SIM on, but when I need my 2-factor verification, I switch to Mint, and I get my TFA, right? That's what you do, man. And then I got an account with Schwab, and I got the Schwab debit card, and I'm telling you, I use it everywhere. I've used it at ATMs all around the world. I've never had a problem with them. The only thing that you have to remember to do, which would be a problem if you don't, before you leave to travel, you go on the app or on the website with Charles Schwab. You go where it says Manage Cards, Travel Alerts, and you put on there the countries that you're visiting and the length of time. So for me, I mean, you can only go up to 1 year at a time. So I put Cambodia I started January 2025 to January 2026, and then I'll just change the years as I go, right? This way that it lets them know that you're using your card in Cambodia, so when they see the charges out of an ATM machine in Cambodia, they won't shut your card down. That's important. If you don't have that travel alert on there, they will shut your card down and it'll freeze your account. Then you have to physically call the toll-free number and tell them it's you and all this bullshit, right? To get it unfrozen. But if you put the alert, you'll have no problems. And why, Charles Schwab? I'm gonna tell you why, Meatballs. This is the most fantastic travel tip I will ever give you. Especially you coming from America, you've got the advantage. Nobody else can do this in the world because they don't have Charles Schwab, unless there's something similar. But the best thing about it, even though you get charged ATM fees when you use your card around the world, Charles Schwab will reimburse you those fees 100% at the end of every month. So it's like zero fees, right? Zero fees to take out foreign money or American money anywhere in the world. I do it all the time. In fact, tomorrow, Monday, I'm getting ready to go get some more cash out. I need to get my rent money out, and I got to get some cash for me. I do my rent money in US dollars here in Cambodia, you know, because I give my landlady $100 bills. It's easier than their money. And then I take out my extra cash that I just want for spending cash. I take it out in Cambodian money, which is reals. And I get hit with 2 fees because I do a separate transactions. They charge like $5 a transaction, but I keep an extra $10 in the Schwab account, so I let them take the $10 out, right? And then at the end of the month, I get $10 back. So I get free banking out here. That's why specifically. Yeah, they're great. Open as many bank accounts as you can. Yeah, definitely. So Wonderlust agrees. So what should I tell my banks when I leave? That I'm traveling for around a year? Should I mention I'll be back briefly here? No, don't tell them shit. Don't tell them anything, okay? As long as you have your US carrier phone still on your phone, that's why I recommend having a dual SIM card unlocked phone, so that you can not only still have your US carrier, you also need to be able to pick up a SIM card from whatever country you're in so that you can use local rates. But you don't have to tell your bank shit. They don't need to know. If you tell them that shit, you're gonna open up a can of worms, and then they're gonna get like suspicious, and then they're gonna close your account. So just don't do it. Okay, let's see. Jose, is ABA Bank there a good bank? Yes, it is. Everybody uses ABA. I don't personally have a Cambodian bank account. I might open up one in the future, but everybody out here uses ABA. They have their own app, and they do the scan and pay out here, so that's a thing. I mean, they take cash, but they do scan and pay. Even at the vendors on the side of the road takes ABA scan and pay. It's a really good bank. Wonderlist, I also have no family for my address, so I have to pray and hope one of my few friends will let me use their address. I've heard of so many expats whose banking accounts are being shut down. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you, Renee. I'd use a friend's address without even telling them, because the banks aren't going to check. They don't check. All they want to know is, do you have a US-based address? Yes or no, so that they can send you mail. Now, if you really think you're going to be getting mail that's important, then yeah, you might want to like check in with one of your friends and say, hey, look, can you catch my mail? And then just, you know, snap a picture and send it to me or whatever. But honestly, other than tax season, I never have any mail that my daughter catches, so it's no big deal. It's no big deal. I have no mail. I have no mail. Let's see. T says, Renee, I've heard if your bank knows you're living abroad, they can close your account. That's what I'm saying. So do not tell them you're living abroad. That's a big no-no. Don't tell them. What they don't know will not hurt them. Okay? Yeah, they might send her a letter to the address. Okay, they might. You're right. It depends on the bank, Jose, but I personally work with Chase. I moved overseas 3 years ago, or I started traveling 3 years ago. I've never had them send a letter to my daughter saying, oh, we need to verify your address or anything like that. So even though I gave my daughter's address and she could have caught the letter, they never sent her a letter. And to this day, I get all my bank statements electronically online anyway through the app. So I tell them, because they give you the option, do you want us to send paper mail or do you want us to send it electronically? And I say electronically, so anything important they send through my email anyway. I've had no mail from my bank at all, except for tax season. Now, if I actually have I have a savings account, but what do they pay you, a penny a month? They don't even report that to the IRS, because what is that, 12 cents a year? That's just to keep a little extra cash. It's not my serious savings, you know what I mean? It's bullshit savings. So what about a virtual address? I've heard that might be a good idea. Well, it's a yes and no thing. I've never used a virtual address. I've heard people have used it, but then I've heard people that have used it have been caught, and that these banks are actually, they're able to scan and tell that it's virtual. So you are taking a chance on that. I'm just going to tell you. But it is an option. You could try it. It's an option. Actually, I would go with, hey Joe, welcome to the chat. Just go paperless with your bank. Yeah, that's what I did. I went paperless with all of my bank accounts. Everything is paperless. Schwab, my credit union, and my Chase Bank, everything is paperless, all electronic. So if they need to get in touch with me, get in touch with me through my email. Yeah, good stuff. Good questions. There you go. I mean, take it from me. I'm already over here. Okay? I'm already here in Cambodia. There's no banking issues with me. But like I said, with Charles Schwab, make sure you set the travel alert. But with Chase, I was looking to see if there was a travel alert section, and there is none. It said on the app, they said you don't need to report what country you're in. If we suspect suspicious activity, we'll notify you. But see, I've never had to use my debit card from my actual bank. That's why I got the Charles Schwab thing too. Because yeah, Chase Bank, if I use my debit card in Cambodia, Chase Bank would probably flag it and then freeze my account and verify it's me. But with Charles Schwab, they already know I'm over here because I set the travel alert, and it's an international debit card anyway. It's built for travel. And like I said, they refund you back your funds at the end of each month. Every fee that you get incurred through ATM, they refund it. So it's like free ATM banking, which is better than using your debit card in the States. Oh, yes. Let's go. Renee says, I'm paperless on everything but my credit union. Grilled me when I went to Malaysia in June. Why? Did you tell him you were going? That may be the problem. Yeah, I'm paperless with my credit union. It's through my old job. State Farm Credit Union, they have their own credit union. I kept it, because they have really good rates. And never told them once I was traveling, never told them that I'm living in Cambodia, and everything is paperless and everything runs smooth. I can move money electronically, I have no issues. If they grill me for a month long trip, I can't imagine what they do for longer. Yeah, don't Don't put yourself through that. You don't need that extra headache when you're moving out here. Like I said, keep your American accounts. Don't tell them anything. Just make sure you have an American-based real address on file, or use a virtual. Try a virtual. No P.O. boxes. Got to be a physical address. And you should be fine. And like I said, make sure you keep 2 SIM cards, whether it's an electronic SIM card or a physical SIM card. You need dual SIM cards so that you can keep your American-based SIM card to get your 2-factor verifications to be able to access your money back in the States. And then you can switch to, say, Cambodia's networks and do everything local here on their network. And like I said, you can get 40 gigabytes. I get 40 gigabytes on the smart plan out here, and it only costs me $5 a month. And I got a bunch of text. That's not free or unlimited, but I get texting and phone calls on that. I never use it because who am I going to call? I use everything. Everything out here is either Telegram or WhatsApp. So really the only reason I just need the data. I need the internet data, when I'm out and about and I don't have Wi-Fi. Or maybe I need to burn a personal hotspot here, because if, the Wi-Fi goes down in my building, because her Wi-Fi is not the best in the world, then I just switch to my personal hotspot. $5 for the month. It's really good. I never even use a whole 40 in the whole month. Never. So let's see. I had to put a travel alert on, and when I went into the branch to get some $100 bills, they asked. Small bank in rural Texas, everyone knows everyone. Okay. So I was the first person that ever had that went out of the country. They didn't even know where Malaysia is. That's so sad, bro. But I can picture that. I can see that. Jose says, Tammy, that's why I told you about the app called Popcorn. You could keep your American number for everything. You just say, and pay $49 a month wide country like Vietnam, Russia. Okay, or $69 a month. Yeah, but I don't want to pay $69 a month because you know what I'm paying a month? I keep my American Mint carrier. I pay $5 a month. So, but I pay it up for the whole year. It's like $200 for the entire year. I just pay one big chunk and I'm done. So $70 a month. I mean, yeah, but I'd rather pay $5 a month for my Mint and $5 a month for my Cambodian. That's only $10 a month versus $69 a month. You see? I'm saving money by doing what I'm doing versus paying that. But I appreciate that, and that's a good tip for everybody in the live stream. But your girl is trying to save some money. Okay. All right. Wonderlust Renee says, and I went through Qatar. They flagged my account when the airline tickets went through. Yeah. Yeah, that's a problem right there. That's a problem. I just don't, like I said, when I was traveling, when I first got on the road, I didn't tell, the only person I set up the alert for was Charles Schwab. I didn't tell my banks shit. And I had no problems at all. I had to explain the charge was legit and I was taking a vacation. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Who needs that hassle? That is like the biggest scare you will ever have being on the road or living overseas is no access to your money. Okay? Like, that is the biggest fucking scare. You put your money in there and then all of a sudden, you put your card into the ATM slot and then the screen says, sorry, your account's been frozen or no funds are available, contact this number. That's scary. I had that happen one time. Well, it said the account was frozen. Contact your financial institution. That was with Charles Schwab because I forgot to set the travel alert. and I was freaked. So, of course, with the time difference, me being 12 hours ahead of the United States, so if it's daytime here, it's nighttime over there. So I had to wait till nighttime here to call them during the day and get it all straightened out. And that's when they told me, just set your travel alert. We'll unfreeze your account. It's all cool. But yeah, you talk about your heart dropping down your throat. It scared the piss out of me, man. Meatball. So you have to pay your U.S. monthly phone bill just to have the Charles Schwab banking app. Well, not to have it, but this is what I'm talking about. All of these banking apps now go with two-factor verification. You know what I'm talking about? They send you a code for you to copy and paste and put it back into the app so that you can gain access to your account, right? Pretty much all of these banks do that. But if you don't have a US phone number or a carrier network for that code to go through to get to you on your phone, you're screwed. You can't copy paste the code to get into your bank account. That's why I do that. There's really no way to get around that. You have to have some type of an American-based phone number to get those codes to unlock your account. So that's what that's all about. Okay, so you guys are texting, cool. Jose, don't you have to pay extra on Mint to make calls from Cambodia? They have some sort of slide scale pay thing. I don't even call on Mint. Actually, I'll tell you what's free though with Mint. You don't call on the actual network. What you do is you get free calls from the Wi-Fi with Mint. So what I do if I want to actually call my daughter or son, I switch to my Mint carrier, but I set it on Wi-Fi. I got to be in Wi-Fi, and then I can make a free phone call. Doesn't matter how long I talk. Now, is the call going to be good? It's going to go in and out. It's going to cut off. But you can make free phone calls with Mint on Wi-Fi. But if you don't have Wi-Fi and you have to use the roaming charges, that's where they get you. So have some cash, maybe half. Yeah. I carry cash all the time because not everybody out here takes ABA or credit cards. Like you're going to have a lot of mom and pop restaurants out here that's cash only. And here's another tip I've learned. You better ask if you only have a credit card for cash before you order food and you don't see a sign. They don't put signs on the door usually. You ask them up front, the waiter, and you say, do you take credit cards? I've had some of them say no, and then I'll be like, well, I don't have any cash, and I have to walk out. But if, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're at the restaurant, you've already ordered, you ate your food, and then you go to hand them a credit card, and they're like, we don't take that. Do you have ABA? And you're like, no. And they're like, well, we take cash. And you're like, I don't have any. Now, some of them will say, oh, there's an ATM around the street. Go get the cash and bring it back, but I don't like to be put in a situation like that. So I always carry cash on me. You use WhatsApp? Absolutely. WhatsApp is a thing out here, man. I use it all the time. Actually, WhatsApp and Telegram is the biggest thing out here. Nobody uses their actual phones to text out here. That's the difference between the United States and Cambodia. It's all WhatsApp or Telegram. That's it. Meatball says, and definitely use Charles and use the travel mode. Got it. Second SIM US number. Exactly. You got it. There you go. I'm telling you, like I said, I'm just a chick out here in Cambodia. These are the practices that I've used that, I've sort of gone through the rough patches, and I'm trying to give you guys some tips so that you don't hit the same rough patches I did or any other expat out here, because I've heard some nightmare stories. There's been people from Canada or the US, and they forget to buy a SIM card out here, And they're just la-di-da-di-da on their phone the whole month they're out here. And next thing they know, they got a $500 phone bill. And, you know, and then I've heard like this one guy, he was from the US, who was in my training class. He's like, yeah, I got a $500 phone bill. And he's laughing about it. He goes, I'm not going to pay it. And I says, well, okay. I says, well, what about your two-factor verification for your banking? Oh, I'm going to do all my banking out here. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know your money situation. Are you getting US dollars? I mean, most of the time you need a US bank to put currency coming from the US to move it to Cambodia. So I don't know what his deal was, but that guy ended up with a $500 phone bill. And I was thinking to myself, stupid. I don't want you guys to be stupid, okay? Wonderlist Renee says, another expat I know swears on Mint. I have T-Mobile, and they have a $50 a month unlimited text with phone calls, 20 cents. But I've also used eSIMs, which are good. Okay, I've had T-Mobile before back in the States. They're not bad. I had them before I switched to Verizon, and then from Verizon I went to Mint. Mint's a hell of a lot cheaper. The service is just as good. In fact, Mint actually uses T-Mobile's towers, is the last I heard. So you're getting the same kind of type of coverage as T-Mobile. You have a Wise card? Well, you're one step ahead. There you go, girlfriend. Then you can move your money. Now, there is a small fee to move your money from US to Cambodia, but you can do it through Wise. Very good. Very good. That's so good. That's so good. You guys are on the shtick. You're on the shtick, baby. Wow. I'm so proud of you. I feel like I'm raising the peeps up in here. I looked at Mint, but didn't see any international plans. I haven't looked at the actual plans, but like I said, you can make free Wi-Fi calls off of Mint. And like I said, I got the cheapest plan, $5 a month, because I don't use them. All I use them is for the two-factor verification. I don't use them for phone calls. I don't use them for texting. I do everything literally off of my Cambodian SIM card. Even texting my kids goes through the Cambodian network. You know? Or I message them through WhatsApp or whatever. But, yeah. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. You guys have any other questions? You guys are on a roll, baby. You're on a roll. I don't know how many people are still awake out there. I'm just watching my neighbors. They're on the roof over here. Do any places ACBO? I don't know what that means, Emery girl. What does that mean? Oh, you took it out. Okay. Did the school do direct deposit? Yes. In fact, she told me, well, the school I was going to work with only worked with one type of bank, but she said you would have to set up the bank and they would do direct deposit. But all the schools do direct deposit out here. Yeah, and you're going to get paid. I think they pay you, I forget if she said they pay you in US dollars or in reals. I think it's in US dollars because remember, this is a dual currency out here. And something like that amount, 1,300 US dollars, is easier to pay in dollars than it is in reals because it's a 4-to-1 conversion. So yeah. Wonderlust Renee, I will have more as it gets closer to when I leave. I'm a good student. Good job, good job. Yeah, guys, so that's cool. That's really cool that you're learning. And I'm glad I'm part of it. You know, that's what I'm here for. That's why I do these live streams. I want you guys to bounce some questions off of me. I'll answer them the best I can. Do I have all the answers? No, I don't. Because everybody's journey is different. what I do as a 55-year-old woman out here is something then different than what a 25-year-old dude does out here. You know what I mean? So there's going to be different YouTubers with different points of view and different perspectives and different ways of living, or maybe just traveling through. But I just want to share my intel with you, just to give you some kind of information that'll make your process smoother. Sorry, do any places accept cryptocurrencies? I apologize for the typos on the last one. Oh, don't worry about it, Enrico. It's cool. No, I wish they did. I have not yet seen any restaurant or anything out here that accepts cryptocurrency. I don't think that's a thing out here yet in Cambodia. So the answer to that is no. Ah, somebody's in the crypto space. Good for you. I'm in it too. I purchase Bitcoin when I can, and I have a cold storage wallet. But yeah, I haven't seen any crypto out here at all. I've seen crypto ATM machines in Poland, believe it or not. When I traveled through Krakow, Poland, they had ATM machines for crypto right off on the sidewalks. I thought that was cool as shit. I had to go in there and check it out. I was like, whoa. But they don't have them out here in Cambodia. Okay, meatballs. So you can use the 40 gig for everything there. Absolutely everything. Live streaming, everything. But the USM just for banking, to keep it affordable, and to have banking app to work properly. Correct. You got it. That's my setup. Exactly. Clark says, what is the highest denomination of dollars you can exchange in Cambodia? $20. Can you exchange 100? I haven't exchanged any money out here, Clark. I haven't had to, so I can't answer that. I don't know. Like I said, I pull out a combination of US dollars and Cambodian reals out of the ATM machine. So I imagine you can go up to $100. Hell, I don't know. I might have to stop by one of these exchange places and maybe get that question answered for you. Through the US account. Let me see. So you have to use for for the US account. For the US account. Yeah, much appreciated. This clarifies so much. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Emery, I invest regularly in crypto, but mostly in XRP, although I do have others. Okay. You do XRP? Okay. I was wondering about that. I'm not into all the other cryptos or the coins and all that. I'm just into Bitcoin right now. I want my investment to turn into $1 million in 10 years when I'm actually retirement age. That would be nice. That's what they're predicting anyway. Last I heard, like crypto right now, what do you call it? Bitcoin is worth what, 110,000 right now? But if you just bought, I think it's 0.1 of a Bitcoin, which is about $11,000. If you had $11,000 right now in Bitcoin, I think 5 to 10 years is predicted to be worth $1 million. I was like, ooh. I gotta get this shit stacked up, bro. That's my retirement plan, at least part of it. Anyway, so back to banking. Your bank is going to know you're not here because everything comes through in another country. That's what worries me. Eventually they're going to catch on. Will they though? I don't know. No, because like when I move money, the only two places I move money, well, there's 3 places. Okay, I got my main banking account, which Chase, right? My pension comes in through Chase in US dollars. Then I disperse it. If I don't leave some money on there, then I move X amount of that money over to Charles Schwab. So it's still an American-based company, right? So it moves from Chase to Schwab. And then whatever money I have saved in my banking account at the end of the month, I move it from Chase to my State Farm Credit Union. It's still an American-based company. So my bank has no idea that any of this money is being used in Cambodia. It's just being redistributed into other American-based financial institutions. The only person that really knows what's going on, or entity, is Charles Schwab, because I told him I'm in Cambodia. But I'm just pulling money out of an ATM. I'm not actually moving money into a Cambodian bank. I don't know how that would work. Although I've had people tell me that they've had no problems moving, like they set up a Cambodian bank out here with ABA, and then they move their money through the WISE network. So let's say you have a Chase account, and I set up an ABA bank out here. I have to have a middleman to push the money through, and that would be the WISE account, or WISE, or whatever they call it. They used to be TransferWise, now they're called WISE. So the money filters through WISE, and then it comes to my Cambodian account. I mean, the US banks know WISE exists, and they know what WISE is for. It's to move currency from America to another country. So why would they care? You know what I mean? I think we're safe. I really do. 115 grand for Bitcoin now. Wow, it went up. Okay, cool. Cool. So did Schwab ask you how long you're going to be there? Yeah, they did. On the app, you can only set it for a year at a time. So I put the whole year. If I remember from Malaysia, they asked how long when I set up the travel alert. Can you extend it? Yeah, you can do it. You can extend the alert every year. So when the end of the year rolls around, I'll just reset it for the next year. Meepo says you just extend your travel time repeatedly. Yep, that's it. Eventually, and worst case, I'm assuming you may have to call, say you're staying longer than expected. Yeah, that's all you got to do. That's it. You got it. Jose, like the old sand, it's my money and I want it now. Oh, the old saying, it's my money and I want it now. Yeah, no shit. It is my money and I want it now. So, I mean, like I said, that's my setup, and it's been working perfectly smooth for me. And I've been overseas for a total, even though I've only been in Cambodia for 9 months, but I've been traveling the last 2 years. I traveled all through Southeast Asia. I traveled through the Eastern Balkans. I traveled through Central Europe and then back out to the United States, and I had no problems with my banks. No problem with my bank, my credit union, or Charles Schwab. I used my Schwab debit card all over the world, man. I only had that one problem, and it was my fault because I didn't set the travel alert. So yeah, if I was bouncing, like anytime I would bounce to a new country, I would go on to Schwab and I'd say, okay, like I'm going to Poland from September to October, set the date. Okay, now I'm going to Spain from October to November, set the dates. As long as you remember ahead of time to set the country and the time length, they don't fuck with you, man. They're just like, okay, you know, that's cool. That's good, guys. Good, guys. Cloudy. Oh, they all left off the roof. You know, they do their laundry. They hang their laundry on the roof. The kids are up there jumping around with a ball playing, but they're all gone now. Guess they got tired. Wonderlist says, I think I need to open a non-credit union bank account. Yeah. Oh, you don't have one? Yeah. And here's another thing. I get free banking with Chase. I didn't know this until my pension hit. I was like, oh, that's so good. Because I was worried I was going to get charged with monthly fees. Because they say in their plan that they charge you if you don't have X amount of money direct deposited, or if you don't have a direct deposit coming into your bank account every month, and they charge you a monthly fee, like something like $15 a month to keep the account open. And at the time, I had, my paycheck coming in from State Farm, so that was my monthly deposit, so I never had banking fees, right, for my checking account. Well, then, of course, I quit my job, and it says, well, if you don't have direct deposit, you have to keep a minimum of $1,500 or higher in your checking account to avoid the fee. So I always had $1,500 sitting in there because I didn't want to get hit with a charge. And then my pension started coming in, and I was like, I wonder if that counts as a direct deposit, or does it have to be a payroll direct deposit, right? So I read on their website, and it says, no, any direct deposit. So I went ahead and used up all of my $1,500 that had been sitting there for years. Left like a $100 balance in my checking account just to test it out. Then I got my pension direct deposited, and sure enough, no fee. So that's another tip for you guys. If you have Chase and you have a pension or Social Security being direct deposited in your account, they will not charge you a monthly fee. Yay! Let's see. Yeah, and you said Charles reimbursed your ATM fees every month. Every month since I've had them, they've reimbursed my ATM fees. I've never paid out of pocket except up front. Then I got my money back at the back end. Wonderless Renee, what do you think of a small local Texas bank? I'm rural. I'm not near large banks, or do I trust them? I don't know, girlfriend. I've never been in your situation. I mean, I guess, are they a known brand bank? I don't know. What's out in Texas? I have no idea. Like, do you have Chase out there? Do you have Bank of America? Do you have TD Bank? I'm just thinking of some banks off the top of my head. Maybe I would just try to aim for those out there. Yeah, Charles Schwab. Yeah. Okay. So a friend told me, make sure the banks can open an international transfer, but isn't that the purpose of WISE? Yeah, I mean, you can do international transfers. Here, let me just raise this up a little bit. You can do an international transfer. Oh, my back. Oh, sorry. You can do international transfers through your bank, but it's going to cost more money. Of course, their fees are way higher than WISE. That's why a lot of people get WISE. They get WISE. And then the fees are lower. Like, you cut your expenses by half. But yeah, I mean, if you don't plan on using your bank to actually physically have them transfer the money, then why get a bank account that specifically specifies that? If really all you need is that bank account to hold your money, to capture money coming in US dollars, hold it, and be able to transfer it over through WISE, I mean, right? That's all you need. We have none of those. Oh, shit, man. I don't know what to tell you. Oh my God, what kind of banks are out there? Is it Mr. Paws Bank? Mr. Mom Paws Bank? I don't know, shit. They're medium to large banks here in Texas, not national. Well, I would think it'd still be the same concept though, right? You wouldn't need to tell them you're moving overseas. A bank is a bank is a bank, right? I mean, they're still going to give you a debit card. Maybe you can get a credit card from them. I don't know. It just seems like it's the same thing. Online banking, you can set up an account online, I believe. Yeah, you can do that too. There you go, Meatballs. That's a great idea. There's a bunch of online banks you can work with if you're comfortable going that route. I just personally use Chase because I've had them for years, you know. I had them set up when I was working. So I thought, why break away from them? They've been a good bank. I've had no issues with them. I've got credit cards through them, so that's who I use. That's just my preference. But yeah, online banking is a good idea, and that could be an option for you, Renee. So I was also told about online banks. Yeah, SoFi and Chime. Yeah, I've heard of them. I think I've looked into them. I think they're pretty good too. I think you might have a shot with maybe working with them. Then you won't have to mess with those little rural banks out in Texas. Yeehaw! You moving where? Cambodia. Where the heck is Cambodia? I never even heard of Cambodia. Isn't that some of the way? Isn't that in South America somewhere? Just fucking around with you. I'm fucking around with you, girlfriend. Yeah, but going back to what you said about how you told them you were going to Malaysia and they didn't even know where Malaysia was, that brings me up a story. When I went to my eye doctor before I left the United States, I wanted to get an eye exam, right? And I told them that I was getting ready to move. I was getting ready to leave the country, and I was going to Malaysia because that was my first stop. I was going to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And the same reaction I got from the lady behind the counter, "Where is Malaysia?" She was like, "Oh, that sounds so exotic. Where is it?" And I said, "Southeast Asia." And then she looked at me with a blank face and she goes, "I thought Asia is Asia. Why is it Southeast?" I was like, oh my God. I was like, just give me the eye exam, never mind. It's meatballs. I don't think you can use Chime everywhere, and it's not technically considered a bank, it's a banking app. I would use Chime for this project. Okay. Or I wouldn't use Chime for this project. Well, that's good. You guys are talking to each other about that because, like I said, I don't know. I don't know. I wish I did know, but I don't know. Don't know about that part. I had just told the bank I was going to Southeast Asia, and then she asked me where Malaysia is. I'm like, Southeast Asia, duh. And she probably thought, where is Southeast Asia? Duh. This is what's scary with the world. Most people have no clue where any country is outside of their hometown. I've heard some people say, like on these, like, you know how people like man on the street or something, the guy goes out there with a microphone and he just asks these random questions to these like young 20-something-year-olds, and he says, tell me the capital. I said, tell me the capital of, let's pick an easy one, New York. They don't even know it's New York. What's the capital of New York, let alone, or he'll say, which continent is Thailand in? Or something easy like that. Which continent is Thailand in? And they'd say, Russia? And I'd be like, oh my God, oh my God. I said, this is the youth of America right now. Oh my God, we're so in trouble. T says, is it easy to switch from the US SIM to Cambodian SIM and back? Oh, hell yeah, it's so easy. It's so easy. It's a click of the button. Let's pretend this is my phone, because I'm on my phone, I can't show you. But like, you just go to your settings, and you go to, well, on mine it's settings, and then you go to like cellular network or something, and it'll list, like I have my Mint on one section, and then I've got my Cambodian on the other, and then you just click the button. That's it. So if I want to go to Mint, I just click to Mint. It switches over automatically. It takes like a minute or two, and it'll show Mint Network like on the top. And then when I want to go back to my Cambodian, I just click the button. It shows it goes right back to the Cambodian. It's so cool. It just flips real super easy. No problems. SIM cards are universal, same size and everything, super easy to switch them. Yeah, they are universal. See, I have well, this isn't my SIM card, but I have a physical SIM for my Cambodia network, and I have the eSIM for my Mint network. So I never have to mess with the eSIM on the Mint side. It's always there. But any country I bounce into, I just buy the physical. I mean, I could get another eSIM for the country I'm in. Some people are more digital, tech savvy, would rather do that, but I find it's more expensive. I looked into that. I find it's a little more expensive to get like a Cambodian eSIM online than it is to actually buy a physical eSIM. It's just easier. It's cheaper and it's easier. Like I said, I mean, they don't charge you for the card itself. Well, actually, no, I'm wrong. When I stopped at the international airport, when I first got here, and I got it at the airport, they charged me for the SIM card, the initial SIM card, but it was like $10. It was cheap. And then you buy your plan, okay? But once you have your SIM card and you got your phone number assigned to you, you never have to renew that ever. So I just constantly just renew my SIM card. You can do it on their app, but it doesn't seem to work too well for me. So what I do is I just go into, there's smart offices. The SIM card offices are all over the city. They're in the malls, they're everywhere. So I just walk in, just to walk in. I say, hey, can you help me top up? No problem. They pull it up on their computer. I pay them cash, $5, or I put it on my credit card. And they put me out a receipt and say, there you go. And then they, boo, 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 boo. They say, what's your phone number? Blah, 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 blah. They put your data right on there and you walk out. It's super easy. Let's see. Wanderlust Renee says, people are seriously dumb. It blows my mind. I've been traveling around the world since I was 2. People think the U.S. is the only place in the world that exists. Yeah, people are not dumb in the U.S. Thanks, meatballs. So, well, you know, it depends on who you're talking about. I wouldn't say everybody doesn't know, but there's a lot of the youth that is a little bit clueless on geography. Let's just put it that way. So how do you put 2 SIMs into your phone? Lost me on that one. Now I'm the dumb one. That's okay. Well, you have to have a phone that will either take a physical SIM card or it will take eSIMs, you know, electronic SIMs. Mine happens to do both. Now, I can only put one physical SIM card because it's one slot that goes into my phone. But I can have multiple eSIM cards, if you get what I'm saying, because it's all digital. So not only can I have a Cambodian eSIM, I could pick up a Vietnam one, a Thailand one, Russia, whatever the fuck I want. I could have multiple eSIMs, and all I have to do is press a button and switch from one carrier network to the other. But you can only have on my phone one physical SIM card. So I just prefer, like I said, the physical SIM card for the country I'm in, and then I just keep my US one as an eSIM. But that's how you put 2. But that's what I'm saying, your phone has to be unlocked. In other words, you have to own the phone. That's what unlocked means. You can't be paying payments on your phone. That means it's locked. That means until you pay the phone off, then it's unlocked. I bought my phone outright. I paid for it. It was an unlocked phone. So I was able to do the 2 SIMs. If it's locked, you're stuck with that carrier, and I don't think you can add, you know what I mean? I don't think it works. I mean, that's what I've been told before I even start traveling, to have an unlocked phone. So meatballs, generally judgmental and greedy, hence one of the many reasons, including all the turmoil here and this insane cost of living. Yeah. No offense. Yeah. And I've completely had it with this place, just sharing. No, and that's good. Share your thoughts about it. I'm your therapist, okay? Oh, so our US number is the eSIM. Right, well, at least mine is. But yes, I have dual SIMs. My phone is unlocked. Good. So I just put an eSIM on my phone in addition to my physical SIM. Exactly. That's exactly it. So that's just my practice. Like I said, my eSIM is always US. I never change it. It sits on my phone permanently. So no matter where I'm traveling, I have it. And then I've got the physical SIM that I can insert into the phone from any country I'm in. And I can swap it in any country. So let's say I take a vacation to Thailand and I want the Thailand network. Well, I can take out my Cambodian SIM card. I can save it because I'm still living in Cambodia, right? And I'm paying for the plan. Save it. Then I just buy a Thai SIM card, inject it into my phone. Now I'm on the Thai network, right? And then, then I can just go back to Cambodia, switch the SIM cards out again, and I'm back on the Cambodia network. That's what I did in Malaysia, but my eSIM was the foreign SIM and my physical SIM was the US. Okay, so you did it backwards. I would say you can do it either way. Whatever you're comfortable with, but that's just my setup. That's how I do it, and that's what I'm comfortable with. So you have to switch them or buy a dual SIM phone. You can just switch the physical cards. Yeah, you can, but here's the hassle. Let's say you don't have a dual SIM card or a dual SIM phone, right? And you have an American SIM card. Now you're in Cambodia and you have a Cambodian SIM card. You switch them. Okay, cool. Well, let's say your bank sends you a 2-factor verification code. All right, okay, cool. Now I got to take out my Cambodian SIM card and I got to inject my US SIM card to get the 2-factor code. You see what the hassle is? And then you're like, okay, now I can do my banking, but then I got to switch it back to the it's a hassle. You can do it, but I don't know about you, but my fat fingers, it's hard to deal with taking those little teenies, like they're like this big, taking them little damn SIM cards and injecting them into your phone. I don't want to fuck with that. In fact, I don't even do it myself. Like when I go to these phone carrier walk-in places, I have them do it. I just take my phone apart and say, hey, or you do it. Because they're used to doing it, and they have the special little tool where they can just like beep and then pull it out. I'm lazy. Okay, so you have to, yeah, so even then you have to make sure it's unlocked through the carrier. Yeah, it's got to be unlocked. It's got to be unlocked. Because I think that's what it means when you're locked in with a carrier because you're making payments. You can't switch the SIM cards. I think that's the big difference right there, is that you can't switch the SIM cards. So you're screwed because you're locked in. But when you pay off the phone, you're unlocked. You've got freedom to move between the carriers. It's almost 2 a.m., so I will see you next time. Thanks for the great info as usual. Oh, you're welcome. Good night. Don't mistake. Get a good night's sleep. We'll see you next time, Emery girl. Ciao, ciao. Yeah, it's getting late. Getting late, guys. Appreciate you. Or you can just have 2 phones. Okay, I mean, yeah, that's another option too. You can have 2 phones. One could be your American phone and the other one could be your Cambodian phone. It's not a bad idea. But I think I'd still want both of them to be dual SIMs or something. I don't know, just in case you lose a phone or you get it ripped off. I mean, I personally just have one phone. But I'm very, very careful hanging on to that fucking phone. I'm going to tell you what. Super careful. Like, I don't want to lose that phone. Because there's that's one of the things out here is the petty theft of phones. So you do have to be very vigilant with your cell phone. Both are dual SIMs and unlocked. Well, you're good to roll, Wanderlust Renee. That's perfect. That's perfect for you. Perfect. You're good to roll, no doubt. Jose said they're working on phasing out the physical cards pretty soon. They'll all be eSIMs. Yeah, I've heard that too. I think it depends on the phone, the type of phone that you buy. But yeah, I've heard that. But I'm keeping my phone until it doesn't work no more. I mean, I'm one of those people. I'm not one of those people that actually, let's say this, that actually buys a new phone every year. I don't do that. That's not me. I'm one of those people that keeps her shit until they completely break apart. Like I had an iPhone 6S for I think 7 years. I kept that phone and it was working fine. That's when I traded it in for this SE. I went ahead because it was paid off. It was working fine, but I was like, okay, the iOS updates can't keep up on this because it's such an old model. And I didn't want to be stuck with an older model phone overseas. So that's when I broke down and bought a new phone, which this phone cost me $600 when I bought it. But I got the extra storage, you know, yada, yada. But I consider that an investment because I'll probably be hanging on to this phone for 7 years, maybe longer, as long as I can get away with it, you know. Meatball says, or maybe use text now and pay for the service so you can avoid switching SIMs. Text now, pay for the service so you can avoid switching SIMs and have a US number. Or like I said, once you get out here, you're just going to be using WhatsApp. WhatsApp and Telegram. So download those apps onto your phone before you get out here. You can still use that with your family and friends back in the US. You can use WhatsApp. I use that with my kids. We communicate mostly through WhatsApp now. And it's so funny because when I talk to Cambodians out here, because they've asked me, they say, how do you, because I told her I said I'm not very familiar with WhatsApp. I was talking to this one Cambodian lady about adding contacts in there. I said, I'm not really familiar because I don't hardly use it. And she goes, well, you're from the US. Don't you use WhatsApp out there? And I says, well, we really don't. I says, it's not a thing out there. I says, it's not as big of a thing as it is out here. I said, we mostly, everybody just uses their own cellular networks and we just talk through our phones. We don't go through the apps. So she was shocked about that. But yeah, WhatsApp and Telegram's a big deal out here. Yeah, pay for the service, you can avoid switching, have the number for the two-step verification. Yeah, you got to have that two-step verification. As I said, or you're screwed. You ain't going to be able to get into your bank accounts and move money or nothing. So it's just a wise thing to do, you know. Guys are rocking and rolling. I'm so proud of you. Rocking and rolling. But I appreciate I see some thumbs up going on there. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. But yeah, do you have any other questions, any other concerns, or is it getting too late? You want to call the ball? But for those of you that came into the live stream late, I have another interview lined up, and it will be released this coming Friday. And that would be 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good night. Good night, Jose. You had a Eurodiet class tonight. What? A Eurodiet? You pulling big words on me there, Wanderlust Renee? Now who's dumb? I have to look that one up. But yeah, I think I'm going to call the ball, guys, because, you know, you girls got some shit to do around here. But thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you as always. 100. You guys are 100. All right. I love you. I want to say goodnight. It's like 90 for the year or something. Drop the ball. If I had a ball to drop, I'd drop it. I guess this is the ball. You guys are a trip. Yeah, good night, Clark. Good night, Clark. Good night, Meatballs. Thanks for joining the chat. Feel free to join anytime. I usually do my chats. Well, with me, it's Wednesday morning. With you, it'd be Tuesday nights. So Tuesday nights and Saturday nights are my chats. Jump on a live stream anytime. Feel free, okay? You're a night owl? You're good till 3? Wow. Okay, Renee, good to talk to you too. All right, guys, let's call the ball. Woo! Woo! Catch you in the next one. Love you. Peace out.